Good morning. Good morning from beautiful Waynesville, North Carolina, in the Jonathan Crompton show featuring Tuscola football. This is David, along with Chuck in Winston-Salem in Studio C, and Jonathan Crompton, the head coach of the Tuscola Mountaineers. Uh, Good morning, man. How are you?
Better question for Jonathan. How is he?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
All right. So, opening game last night at CE Weatherby Stadium. I'm still half asleep. I apologize. I've got like 4 hours sleep in the last 3 days. But anyway, what a great environment to open the season. Great crowd, great environment, and tickled to death with everything but the final score there at the end. So, Jonathan, give us a quick overview of the game, and then we'll start breaking it down and just an overview of your thoughts of where we were or where we are and what happened, and then we'll break it down by half.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously not the outcome you want, game one, but I think our players fought hard. They didn't quit. They communicated well, and that's something we preach to them is making sure you communicate on the field because whatever play offensively, defensively, or special teams that we call, they're the ones having to run it. They're the ones having to execute it on the field. So I do think we communicated well in adverse times. A lot of nitpicky things that we need to clean up, but that's always going to be the case. So I think the biggest thing to take away, honestly, is the kids' care level is way up there. And I say that meaning I know everybody that plays sports is competitive, obviously, or they wouldn't play, and nobody wants to lose. Once again, or they wouldn't play. But the level of disappointment, I guess you would say, by our players was that was encouraging to see in the sense of they're already itching to get back. They have already had a few reach out and ask when we're going to have the film for Polk so they can start on Polk. That's something that I'm encouraged by. I think, like I said, I think we fought our butts off genuinely. Like I tell them, good things are going to happen in a game, bad things are going to happen in a game. We have 8 seconds and move on. Good, bad, and different. I think they did a good job of that. We had a lot of kids that literally did not come off the field on offense or defense, and then most of them on special teams. And it's always interesting games 1, 2, and 3, and depending on when your bye week is, getting your legs used to that type of conditioning rather than practice conditioning. We can do all we want in camp, but it's very hard to simulate a live game time. You only get 3 timeouts, that type of stuff. So it's encouraging. I think we're on the right track. Obviously, not the outcome we wanted, but I'm very optimistic about the future with the group we have.
Overall, Jonathan, with the game, and let's just say it is that even the Asheville Citizen Times had you almost what was a 32-point underdog
Yeah.
in the prediction. How do you look at?
Yeah.
I mean, your team was in position, and it didn't work out. But where are you at with that, and losing to a team loaded with D1 prospects?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, that just shows the character of our team. And there's stuff, obviously, that, in hindsight, I wish I could have back personally, as far as a call here or there on either side of the ball with a couple of things that, I was telling Coach Chambers, hey, go ahead and do this. And wanted to give our players a chance to go show their ability and put trust in them. And, obviously broken plays happen when you're asking your kids that are also some of your starting receivers that don't come off the field on defense to play man-to-man coverage. And if the play breaks down and the quarterback scrambles, one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing to do in football, is to cover a guy man-to-man for 7 seconds. So, a couple of things like that I wish I could have back that probably in hindsight would have played a little deep zone rather than, bringing the house, so to speak. But, I also am a high risk, high reward type coach. So, stuff like that, I think, like I said, it's game one. The season's not won or lost in game one. Our players understand that. Fortunately enough, we had a very good week one opponent, non-conference opponent, and we're just like I said, we're on to Polk and going to get ready to game plan today.
Okay. So let me ask you here. Let's go back to the game. First of all, tell me who your captains were last night.
We had in numerical order Jed West, KJ Vang, Stephen Brooks, and Josh Kruger.
Just very impressive leadership that I saw from your group of kids last night when things were tough, and for them to have Jeb as a captain after what have we had 11, 12 practices have you had with him as the quarterback?
And that's also encouraging to see where we're at offensively with the couple, I would say, obviously a little more than a couple, but the few practices we've had, him and his brother have dove right in. The JV and varsity team have welcomed them with open arms, and you would never know that they haven't been here for 4 years. That says a lot about our team. It says a lot about our community in general, just because how these kids were raised. So, like I said, I'm encouraged. I really am. I think we've got a great group of kids that take ownership of, coach, that's my fault. That's my fault. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, it's my fault, and I'm grown enough to admit that. Once again, I should have had a couple calls back. I should have not had them in certain situations that they were in, and that's okay. That's football. Football's never going to be perfect. So the good thing is they know that I've got their back. Our coaches have their back, but we also know that they've got our back as players. That's why I think we're in a good position in this program.
Okay, so let's go through the first quarter real quick, and because I know Chuck's got some detailed questions as we go. So, kind of talk about to get us through the first quarter, Jonathan.
All right. Obviously, first play of the game was designed. Regardless, we were throwing that. I'm just being honest. So, if I let Jed read the play normal, the 15-yard dig route's wide open. I wanted to take a shot early. I did. So I told him, hey, the guys knew for the last 10 days what the play was. So that was that. Once again, that's on me. If I don't do that, then we're probably getting about 25-yard first down. But then once again, that's hindsight's 2020. So after that, I think our defense did a good job. Then once again, I wanted to be aggressive on defense, and third and long, let's go ahead and get let's try to put a little more pressure because Asheville's a very good team. I just don't think they handled our blitzes very well. I think Coach Chambers has done a phenomenal job of putting a package together to wreak havoc. So I was like, you know what, let's get after him here, and told him to make a call. And once again, like I said, one of the hardest things to do is to cover a guy man-to-man for 6 or 7 seconds. That's extremely tough because you're reacting the whole time rather than being the one doing the action. So after that, I think we kind of got settled in with what we were going to do offensively. Couple penalties here and there with false starts that we got to clean up. We got to work on, make sure our timing's right, whether it's a motion or the exact timing of our snap count, just little things. But for, like I kept telling them, for as bad as we had played just overall, and it wasn't that the kids weren't playing bad, but just the couple penalties, false start here, false start there, that type of stuff. We were only down 6 points.
Yep.
I think our kids understand and see where we can go. So the first quarter obviously was tough. in that sense, on just because of a mental state for me, knowing what I want to do versus what we can do because of things in the middle of the game happen. You envision a certain play on first down and now it's 1st and 15. Okay. Maybe we adjust a little bit. So they learned that. I learned them more last night. They learned me more last night. So the first quarter, like I said, was good to get out of the way and under our belt, just to be honest. And like I said, what was it? It was like 6. I think it was 6-0 into the first, if I'm not mistaken.
Chuck?
Yeah, going into the second, when you get a 7-6 lead, did you sense that was kind of the turnaround? Like, this is not going to be a blowout. Our kids are in here, dug in to fight, and we're going to fight this thing all the way to the fourth quarter. Was that the point when you got the 7-6 lead and you said we can play with these guys?
No, you're going to probably laugh. Sorry, I'm slightly hoarse because I'm a little animated on the sideline. You're going to laugh. The genuine moment I knew that is after the first play, even though it was an interception. Seeing how the defense ran on the field and the offense came off of the interaction. Knowing that, once again, they've got each other's back in that locker room. And I told them, I said, listen, if the first play ends up being an interception, it's a long punt. You got to make the tackle. I want to take a shot early. So I think that's actually the moment that I knew it wasn't going to be a blowout. But then when we took the lead, because with Bryant taking a jump ball, so to speak, the 50-50 ball, go up and beat the basketball player, alley-oop type throw, as I call it, and making the play that he made in game one was tremendous.
Yep, and that's number 13. And make sure we pronounce his. I want to make sure that we pronounce their names properly. And I have sometimes I don't pronounce names as well. So tell me Bryant's name, number 13, and he is going to be a good one.
No, Bryant Ancia, he's going to be good. He really
last
is.
Name?
He wants to be good. And that's like I've told him. Excuse me. None of the coaches can do it for you. You got to do it. You got to have the want. And by God, he has that want. That's for sure.
Tell him Bryant's last name.
Ancia.
See, Chuck, I would have pronounced it wrong. Yeah.
That's right. Your head coach, Coach Bill, would have corrected you. Hey, they're competing. They're in the war zone, in the trenches.
Yep.
Kind of give your overall assessment of some of the players that, and maybe it's the entire offensive line, the battle and what they did last night.
Great question.
Like I said, just from top to bottom, battling their butts off, coming off, communicating. Because, like I said, that's something that we preach. I can see certain things, or Houston McCracken in the box can see certain things or whatnot, but I know what it's like to see him on the field as a player as well. And coming off the field, communicating, going, hey, coach, he's really here versus here. So me being on the field instead of the press box, sometimes those, 2-foot differences can be a little skewed from a blocked view. So I think our guys did a great job of doing stuff like that. Coming off and going, hey, coach, he's in a 2-eye, not a shade. Something like that where, once again, from my view at a different angle, it may look a little different, so we know how to call plays accordingly. So and there's not just one group genuinely that impressed or showed out. It was just from top to bottom, the actual the want, the competitiveness, the no quit, the never back down mentality. I think that it was tremendous by these guys. I really do. And once again, like I said, I know I'm a little hoarse and excuse me, a little monotone this morning, but I'm running off like 2 hours of sleep right now.
So tell me, let the folks out there know as we're going to finish up the second quarter and get into to halftime. But offensive line, tackle to tackle, who are these guys? Because they sure are big. They sure look good. And I think you've got something to build upon with those 5 guys.
Yeah. Or you want me to name them individually?
if you could, just for a
Okay.
second. This is all about them.
Well, and no, I'm with you. I wanted to clarify. That's all.
Thank you.
We've got left tackle David Bowman, left guard Odie Garrido, center Stephen Brooks, right guard / tackle Alex Caldwell, and right tackle / guard Josh Kruger.
Excellent. I just got Augie Garrido.
Odie.
I love that.
Okay, it said
A football name.
little horse this morning.
Odie.
That's a football name, isn't it?
So when you're yelling at Odie, you're not yelling Omaha.
Not yelling Omaha, no.
We
do
really
not have anything in our system with the name Omaha. I might have to add one.
very impressed with. I'm not, with all 5 of them, but boy, Brooks is a good-looking kid.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they all communicate well. They relay the calls because obviously Brooks is the one that makes the calls, being the center.
So he makes your calls.
Well, the offensive line calls.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And echoing those down. Said, I mean, football, it's communication, and I think our O-line does that very well. I think Coach Sluter does a really good job at practice, going through the situations and making sure they do echo it down, and go with that, because like I've told them, there's 100 ways to make certain calls with names. I don't care if the opponent or they hear the call, they still got to stop the call, and they probably don't know the call because our names are a little different than other people, just like theirs are different than ours. And I think that's how it should be, to where your guys are on the same page. If you're on the same page for anybody, then you're a better combination than not being on the same page.
So second quarter, a little of the jitters were out, and again, sometimes for me, and I'm not down there with you guys, but from where I was sitting, man, their speed was almost frightening, and our kids did a really good job of trying to contain that speed, because on any play, those kids could go.
Yeah, but that's what you get when you play Asheville. The one thing our kids did is understand, hit them in the mouth. And that goes for every week. It doesn't matter who we play. That's going to be our mindset, especially in the trenches, O-line, D-line, or on defense, the front 7, really. Hit them on the mouth, and we knew Asheville was a one-cut downhill team. Their tailbacks, once again, one cut downhill, and they've got breakaway speed. Their receivers, same thing. But I think our DBs did a really good job of making them try to make contested catches. That everybody had played zone against Asheville because they were afraid of the speed, and we came out and chose to go man-to-man. And so, we're going to put our faith in our kids, because that's what coaching is. And I think our kids did a tremendous job in doing that. They got better last night, and that's the big thing. We got to get better every day. We were better yesterday than we were Thursday. So that's what I've told them. We got to be better Saturday than we were Friday. And good thing is Monday school starts, so we'll be on a normal type schedule from here on out, which is a good thing for us because we get to see them in the building every day, not just at practice.
Hey, Jonathan, you go into halftime down 12-7. What was it like at halftime in the locker room with your boys?
Calm. Very calm. Because everybody knew that they didn't do anything defensively to stop us. We stopped ourselves. We knew that. As coaches, our team knew that. I'll go down saying this. I think we're going to be able to end game adjust as a staff better than anybody. That's just my personal opinion. And we came up with a couple wrinkles as far as formations at halftime that they had not seen and we had not done. And our players handled it tremendously on the fly. And that's part of football. They game plan, we game plan, who can adjust during the game. And I think our kids handled that well for the first time it actually happening, because it was game 1. And we found a way to exploit a couple voided zones and in the run game and in the pass game. And I mean, third quarter, I think we stayed in the same formation 95% of the time because they didn't adjust the linebacker out. So, and most teams spread them out to throw. We were going to spread them out to go QB run because it was a good look for us last night.
Absolutely.
So,
Talk about
absolutely.
adjustments on the fly in the first half. You know, you're seeing things. Your staff is communicating through headsets and everything. Talk about on the go, on the fly adjustments. How is that done when you have several kids going both ways? How do you get that accomplished?
Communication, and I'm saying that jokingly, like laughing, because that's what we tell them. We have to talk, make sure everybody's understanding. We have a saying in our program: we'll never be 100% individually, but we will be 100% collectively because we have each other's back. So it's one of those that maybe somebody wasn't, or not wasn't, but maybe they're on the field on O or D or special teams, and one of the other sides of the ball that they predominantly play on is making an adjustment on the sideline. Well, that's where we rely on our kids to relay that information if it happens to come up the next drive and said player didn't get all the information. Hey, we're doing this, this, and this. How do we word associate and correlate that to something they already know?
Right.
Like I said, I think they did tremendous with that last night because that was the first time I told them this is how we operate. But once again, that was the first time we'd ever been able to do it together last night in a live game. So they handled it well. I mean, they really did. And like I said, we do that each week. We'll try to find little nuances that can help us moving guys here or here in a formation or certain motion or a variation of a play. And I think both sides of the ball did that really well last night at halftime.
Through your halftime adjustments, Jonathan, and starting into the third quarter, you jumped off. You jumped on them and got the lead back at 14-12. Now I can tell you around a few places, people were asking me the scores, and I was giving them. When I gave 14-12, there was a buzz. Now you had question marks. Really? So a lot of people, other than Tuscola fan base, were surprised that you commanded the lead at 14-12 early in the third quarter. Where was your team at that point in time?
In what way?
Mentally, how?
And that's what I'm saying. And you always hope this happens as a coach, but you don't really know until you're put in the situation. And I all the time we tell them, good stuff's going to happen, bad stuff's going to happen. We have 8 seconds. That's our rule. If you ask any kid on our team and say, hey, I've got a few rules that we quote unquote live by. One is about the 100% collectively, and one is 8 seconds. There's nothing at that moment. There's nothing we can do about the good, the bad, the ugly. We learn from it. We move on. We forget about it. We'll deal with it on Saturday. And I think they genuinely, I could be wrong, but I think they genuinely have bought into that, and they just wash it out of their head and move on. And so at that moment, I think the players are like, we're not less athletic than this team. We can cover these guys in space. You know what I mean? We can run our routes and not get jammed up. Because for the longest time, Asheville, trust me, I played at Tuscola. I get how Asheville is historically the bully because they're just genuinely better than you. Well, our guys have the mindset it don't matter who we play. And I love that by our kids. So when we took the lead at 14-12, the buzz was there. The kids are going, this is what we expect. We go into every game expecting that we're going to win. And I think every team should do that, or at least I hope they would. So our guys, like I said, at that point, they battled really well. They understood what we were doing game plan wise, schematically, what to expect going forth. And at that moment, it was, it's fun. It really is. It's football is fun. Friday nights is the fun part. Monday through Thursday is the hard part on the kids.
the 14-12 lead, I text your dad and said, "Now the fight begins." And watching this battle go off in the second half, I thought, okay, the testing point, or the point you want to see where your team is going to really dig in, or, give back a little bit, was when they went up 25-14. And it looked to be that your kids said, "We're not going anywhere. We're
No.
to the end."
Or yes, they said no. You know what I mean? Like that's not how they operate. It's not their mindset. It's that's what, like I said, that's what we preach every day. We don't care who we play. We can go play the New England Patriots, since you always speak of Bill. And that's the thing, is our kids will go, we're going to stick our nose in there and we're going to play, and by God, we think we can win. That's just, it's a mindset, and I think that they've bought into that mindset genuinely. They believe it. They preach it to each other. So it's fun. I remember going on for the last drive of the game, I'm watching the clock. I'm trying to save our timeout, as long as possible.
Can I stop you for just a second? Can I stop you for just a second? Okay, before you go there, I want let's go back a little bit. You're down. What are we? It's 25-14.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we get the stop, get the ball back. I know, what you are thinking, but the most important thing now is, all right, when you get the ball back, and those kids are going in the huddle, their mindset at that point on that drive to get back in the game, and what were they thinking? What were y'all seeing?
Well, no, but that's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
We have that mindset to each other. That's what I was saying, is you couldn't write a better script. You couldn't. That's what I try to tell them. This is what you live for. It's what we practice for. And every one of them had that look in their eyes, like, let's go do it, because they believe in each other. They believe in us as coaches. They believe in what we do every day. And that was, like I said, that's what was encouraging, is because there was no fear in their eyes.
Okay.
And that's what I'm getting at. Like, it doesn't matter who we play. That's the mindset of our team and our coaches, is we know we've got a shot every time we walk on the field, as long as we just execute and don't beat ourselves.
So we go down and you score a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And now defensively, we got to get the football back. So, and I know that Chuck's got a question or two about that, about the defensive stand right there and what you guys did.
Exactly. We were talking about the fact that here you got all this speed. Was the plan to take a little bit of risk and say, look, they're not going to throw the football. We're going to jam that box up. I mean, what exactly did Austin? What was his mindset on that defensive?
Well, I think we did a good job talking there, and I do think that Asheville got into what I call forming an offense a little too early, personally. That's just an opinion, and that's not to talk about their game plan. I'm just saying I think they got away from what they'd done all game a little early in that moment, which helped us, right? Because then we could try to crowd the box. So obviously that helped. That went to our advantage in that point. And then once again, we had not played much zone all game on purpose. And at that point, then we started going a little bit of zone to mix up when they did try to throw. Now it was a completely different look than they had all game. So we have scenarios we go through. We have game plan talks about, hey, if we get this look and this look, here's an automatic check to our guys. So then we've done that all game. So then we overrided those checks, went into a look they hadn't seen against us, which kind of throws you off in the moment. And like I said, I think our guys handled it well. They know our calls. They know the reads. They know the game plan of tendencies and things like that for our opponent. And I think they handled it well. And And I'm now I feel kind of bad. I want to talk about this. Should have talked about this earlier. And no, I will not talk about injuries.
No,
I'm telling you now.
that's why I didn't ask.
But we played 99% of the game without our Mike linebacker. And in the second half, we played with a wide receiver playing Mike linebacker because he came to us and said, Coach, I've been scout team receiver all week for the defense. I know their tendencies. I know they're like when they're going to do pull certain guards or tight ends. Let me go play Mike.
In his name, and tell me his name.
Jude Delcom.
Absolutely.
Came and so we had a wide receiver play Mike linebacker, and he did a tremendous job of just sticking a nose in there and not expecting him to be a Mike linebacker. Let's get that out there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's the type of team we have.
And you're not going to talk about injuries, and we shouldn't. But boy, do I love Bryson Haynes, 34 sophomore, and this kid is going. People remember this name because you're going to see him play beyond Friday nights. He's just a sophomore. This kid is a stud.
Yep. I agree. I agree.
Oh
with
my
that.
God!
But
the look in his eye.
But just for last night though, we had a receiver play Mike linebacker,
Unbelievable.
An offensive tackle play Mike linebacker, and a defensive tackle play Mike linebacker, because our guys know our system. They trust what we coach and what we teach. Keyword teach, right? And they trust each other. And that was. And by the way, then he inherited long snapping and Mike linebacker and did a tremendous job. That's what football is, and I think that's what a team is. And I wholeheartedly believe we have a team, not a bunch of kids, but a team in that locker room.
Jonathan, do you think you might see Asheville down the road again?
This year?
Yeah.
They're 4A, we can't.
Oh, they moved to 4A.
Oh, yeah, they're in the 4A part of their conference. And obviously I wish them nothing but the best. I know they got a hard schedule ahead. They really do. I think Court's done a tremendous job of scheduling like worthy opponents, genuinely. So I know they got their hands full the next couple weeks before they get into conference play. But yeah, we will not. We'll next year open a day.
Open again with them?
Yeah, we go there next year.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. All right. So it's all right. We get the ball back. 3 minutes to go. One timeout, and here we go.
Oh yeah, I mean we knew they had not adjusted to bunch into the boundary the past two drives, so we, the old cliche, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Stayed in the boundary. This is partly why I was going hoarse, because I was just screaming, let's snap it, let's snap it, let's snap it. Quarterback run was good into the boundary. If you can average 4 or 5 yards a run, I can't be mad at that. You know what I mean? And then our kids, they knew what we wanted to do. And even, the drive before that, when we go down 11, we go down to score. And obviously I had to go for 2. I had a play in mind, and I look out on the field, and a couple of the kids signaled a certain play. And Coach Shepard's wants to play, and I said, they got it. Huh? They want it, we're going to run it. I'm gonna trust my guys, and that's what Coach Shepard said. He goes, let's trust them, let's do it. And obviously, and it worked. And that's stuff that the kids understand, that just because I'm the head coach, or just because Coach Shepard's a receiver coach, doesn't mean they don't have an input on the game. Doesn't mean that they can't say, "Hey, Coach, can we do this? Can we do this? Blah blah blah. I think this is working." And that was the fun part, because, I won't say a couple of their names, but coming on the film going, Coach, we told you. You did. 100%. High five. That's what it's about. It's not about who gets the credit. We did this together. They wanted a certain play because they had seen the leverage by the DBs the whole previous 2 drives. So we do that and get the 2 point. Defense does a great job getting us the ball back in 3 minutes. And high school ball when the clock stops after the first down, and one timeout is an eternity. So we knew we wanted to go quick, but we didn't have to go lightning speed. And that's, like I said, that's when I got in the huddle and said, "Hey guys, you couldn't write a better script here. Let's go have some fun now." This is genuinely why we practice. And our guys, we threw a couple concepts at them that we had not practiced very often this week. They knew the concepts. But this week, I didn't think they would be "quote unquote" good plays, but I also didn't expect to go bunch into the boundary much. So threw it at them. They knew them. They did not hesitate. They just lined up, communicated real quick. "Hey, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here." Go through it, and we're moving the ball. I think Jed did a great job scrambling and running the ball, or on that last drive, and also stepping up in the pocket. And then obviously, not the outcome you want, but.
No.
We'll never, I don't care how long I live for, we'll never say that one play cost the team a game.
Oh God, no.
And that's what I'm like. If it wasn't for 19 Saeed Jackson early in the game, we're not in the ball game. And
Yeah.
So for him to go out there with cramping, a couple of them were, and fighting through it. I was, like I said, I was super encouraged. I really was.
Now, what was the post game message to your team that we can know?
Well, no. There was honestly there was nothing negative. It was the fact that literally go home, rest up, stretch if you need to stretch, ice if you need to ice, get in the ice bath, get you some rehab. Don't wake up at 2 p.m., right? Get up at a normal hour, get your body moving, and move on to Polk. There's not much we can do. We played a hell of a game. We did. Physical game. I'll tell you this. Our kids felt the physicality. I promise you they did too. And that's football. That's what you're supposed to. So it was more so just get ready to move on. We'll be on to Polk. Don't drag your head because the season's not won or lost on game one. It's just not. A non-conference opponent, always want to pull them out, 100%. But the season is not over. It is long from over. So that was more of the message. We kids literally get everything got. Things happen. We have some tweaks here, injuries there, and guys stepped up. They did.
Oh yeah. I was so impressed with KJ Vang, Jonas Howard. What a catch on that last drive.
Yeah.
That is that's sports center kind of stuff. But
here's a step further though. What the guts to go for the catch when he did that early, not as high, but a guy put his helmet in his rib. And for anybody that's never felt that, when you have no padding on your ribs and you get a helmet full speed, it obviously doesn't feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for him to have the guts to go up like that and get it again, that tells you what type of kid he is.
Oh, yeah. And man, and KJ kick returns.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. He was really good on that long, blocked well on the kick returns. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that, during, I would always bug you when we do get a chance to talk, which is not very often, but I said, "How are we doing on the special teams?" And you just look at me and say, "Man, just shut up. We got this, be quiet." And really good blocking. He ran the ball really well. And again, from my perspective, being up high, he sees the field and he is not afraid to put his head in there. He is not the biggest individual,
mm-hmm.
but my God, I'm impressed with him. Saeed is going to be something else. Bryant, I can go down the roster because again, Chuck, what did they say we were? What underdog? How many underdogs?
Oh, let's get this, make sure we understand, because of all the negativity coming out of the hometown newspaper of Asheville Citizen Times, because they love Haywood County, had Jonathan or the Tuscola Mountaineers a 32-point underdog.
I don't know the number because
I've been
I
predicting.
don't look. Y'all know me. I don't look at that stuff, so I don't know the number.
Right.
No idea. I personally, I care about the coaching staff,
Right.
the kids in that locker room, and every kid on that campus. That's all that's on my mind. So I don't know. I can tell you this: we're going to go into every week thinking we're an underdog. That's our mindset as a team,
Right.
and I think every team should think that way.
Right.
So,
Well,
we're gonna,
what blowout was it, Jonathan?
No, that it wasn't. Like I said, I mean, hey, give credit where it's due. Asheville played a hell of a game too.
absolutely.
They really did, and we knew going in. I do not know his name off the top of my head, but one of their linebackers, their Sam linebacker number 1. He's a good ball player, but you know what? We got a lot of good ball players too, and I think it was a good matchup, genuinely from both sides. And what I really, just one play sticks out in my mind in general when we're down 25-14 and we run a jet sweep into the boundary, which most people don't do that. But once again, that's stuff that we'd seen on the run that we had the advantage there. And number 7, Gavin Langley, he could have went out of bounds on the 3.
No.
And I've got a bird's eye view from the back right there, and you can just see him gear up to lower shoulder and just go through somebody. And it was a 2-on-1 battle, and by God, he did not fall backwards. We'll say it that way. That's encouraging to see.
So, I thought, not talking now about the game, because I think it was a great effort by both teams.
Yep.
Again, I commend you for saying what you said about Asheville High, because they are going to make some noise.
Yeah, no, 100%. I
They
totally
are
agree with
really,
that.
really good.
Asheville, and that's the saying. Asheville's Asheville. You know what I mean? That's just, or at least from my generation and older. It's Asheville. You know what you're going to get. They're going to be big, fast, physical. And they're going to have collegiate athletes on that team. So I think it was a really good matchup for us. And I think we showed to ourselves we can play with whoever's on this field. We just got to go just take care of our stuff.
Yeah.
And that, that's what the message will be next week.
Well, John, we're not going to talk about injuries, and we're kind of giddy because we get to talk about some kids, but you haven't had a chance to put in Polk County game plan yet, have you?
No,
I just asked.
Once again, I got home at 1:30 in the morning and did not go straight to sleep. The film's already exchanged, so game plan will start in 17 minutes.
So listen, before we talk about Polk, man, a really, really neat environment at CE Weatherby. And
100%.
The crowd was there. The crowd was positive, even when we were down. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you a lie. I've been very apprehensive about sitting in the crowd with some of the folks, as not the guy that does this and not the guy that owns the business and all that, but just as a dad. It's almost but what a great crowd. And how about that band?
Oh,
and how about our cheerleaders did a phenomenal job, but good Lord have mercy, that band is just another level.
Yeah, no, Mr. Engel does a phenomenal job with them. If you have seen how many hours they put in, holy crap! I mean, they're dedicated. They are awesome. I'll say it that way.
And the cheerleaders did a great job last night. The fans were there, and after the game, I think the neatest thing was to kind of just listen to the reaction. And moral victories are not part of your makeup.
Nope.
We didn't win, and that's not good. But there was a lot of positives about the game itself, and a lot of things got to be cleaned up. and I know that you're the one that you told me, penalties stink, and you guys will clean all that up, I believe. But
Yeah, and here's the thing: and especially at this level, I'll forever believe this. I'll go to my grave believing this. Wins and losses are phenomenal. Do not get me wrong. I will never. We can't play Monopoly in our household. Never say otherwise. I'll never say, hey, moral victories and that. But at this level, it's more. There's a lot more life lessons to be learned. A lot more. I'm trying to help develop in our coaching staff, and even from the administration down, with Mr. Connor all the way down, we're trying to develop better young people, men and women of society, right? Learning how to deal with adversity when good things happen and bad things happen. How do we react? It's easy to respond positively when we win. Who you really are as a human, in my opinion, is how you respond when things don't go your way. That's what this level is. Yes, I promise you. We're going to go to the drawing board. We're going to game plan, and we're going to be ready to fight every week, regardless. But in 15, 20 years from now, what's more important to me is not how many wins and losses I had, but how many kids that come back and go, Coach, we appreciate those talks. We appreciate those lessons. We appreciate just whatever it was that they appreciated because they're kids. Genuinely. Over 50% of the team at this level, statistically, I mean, I made that number up, but it sounds about right, doesn't have a driver's license because you got a JV team as well. You know what I mean? That cannot actually drive themselves. So that's what's more important than wins and losses at this moment. They're going to come. Wins and losses happen. Wins will happen in this program. I promise you that. They will happen in this program. We've got from administration down, we've got a great people at the helm. But that's what's more encouraging to me is to see how the kids picked each other up and there wasn't bickering. It wasn't pointing fingers. It was, hey, man, keep your head up. We're going to be good. Because that's an adverse time. You know what I mean? That is as a football player, that is one of the biggest moments of adversity is when a game doesn't go your way in that fashion. Right? Because it's called like it is. Everybody on both sides of the field 100% knew we had the momentum. But guess what? It's life. And our kids know how to respond to that. That's what this level of football is about, personally.
Okay.
And that's why I'm encouraged where we're at.
Well, I'm going to let Chuck now talk to you about our upcoming opponent, and I will sit back and enjoy the next few moments of the CIA show.
Yeah, obviously we can't get into the game plan. I've been banned from that. So, but Polk County last night played Madison at home and had a slow start. It was 12-7 for a while, and then all of a sudden they Wolverines put the Jets on and ended up beating Madison 38-7. Biggest improvements from first game to second game seem to always be the best. You get the biggest improvements. Being encouraged about what happened Friday night against Asheville, where are you at on your team going into game 2 against Polk County?
Well, excuse me. The challenge this week will be we will not be playing Polk's JVs on Thursday. We will be playing McDowell's JVs Thursday.
Okay.
So,
and where's that at?
At home.
Okay. Everybody understand.
We'll play our JVs. Will play McDowell week 2 and week 3, and then obviously varsity plays Polk and then McDowell. So that I think this week that's the biggest challenge is getting ready for 2 different opponents. From the schematic side, and because you still got a game plan for JVs, you can't. It's not just a varsity program. So I think that's the biggest challenge for us as coaches. But I think everybody's up to the challenge genuinely. and let's call it like it is. Polk is never an easy place to play on the road. It's going to be hot. As long as the weather's good, we know it'll be hot. It's early in the season. It's a grass field, so luckily we have a grass practice field, so we practice on grass, so that helps us. It's just same thing with Franklin. When you play at Franklin, they've got a good filtration system, and when you do that, there is a bow on the middle of the field on grass fields because you don't want puddles in the middle. So Polk and Franklin on the road, those are a couple of the biggest deals outside of dealing with fans and crowd noise and all that, is understanding certain routes may be uphill a little bit, genuinely. Certain routes may be downhill a little bit, depending on where you're at on the field. So, Polk's always they always compete for their conference title, right? They're always in 1, 2, or 3, and they've got a good conference. So I think it'll be a challenge this week. Obviously, we'll be up for the challenge. Excuse me. Product of being crazy on Friday nights. But like I said, they're always good. They've always got really good players and kids that they don't back down. Right? They're a hard-nosed football team. So that it'll be a fun challenge, but we're up to the challenge just like I know they are. So it'll be good. It'll be on the road and first road test of the year to see how we respond.
Well, 8, and people ask why I call you 8. Well, if you look behind them, obviously that's my nickname for Coach Crompton. 8, looking around the Western North Carolina, give you a little time with trying to collect yourself. Murphy last night went into the pit and beat Franklin 41-14. Does that surprise you?
Well, we scrimmaged and jamboreed, I guess you'd say, with Murphy. Hey, Murphy's good. I don't care what anybody says. Murphy's good. Murphy's got a chance to make a deep run in the 1A this year. I genuinely think that, or at least from what we saw.
They're very good.
You know what I mean? And it's we joke. Murphy, they run what they run, and they, guys that graduated in 1983 probably still know it, but by God, it works, and they do it well. Like, just being funny, obviously not being legitimate true there. But they're a hard-nosed team. Hey, they got a couple good backs. Their line comes off the ball. So, I don't know much about Franklin this year, honestly. We haven't got there yet. I just know Murphy because we went against them. And I think Murphy's legit.
Got it. Now, this goes to building a program and the positive effects. If you build a program, you spent 2 years at West Henderson, helping build that, and particularly the offense. Mm-hmm. They lost you, their offensive coordinator, and a lot of key players in the production on the offensive side. So you would think, okay, they're going to take a step back, but you helped build a program. And they went down to Newton Conover and beat Newton Conover, West Henderson, 54, Newton Conover 22, and 15 points came late in the game by Newton Conover.
Nice. Hey, good for them. And I'll be honest with you, I still got friends out there, but the reality is I'm focused on Tuscola.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just the harsh reality is this: it's a long, grinding season. I will focus on them week 11, game 10. In that sense, I wish them nothing but the best. Hope to win them all except one, obviously. So we got to get back on track ourselves and get in the win column.
Other scores from teams around on your schedule: McDowell County fell on a late rally by RS Central. McDowell County lost 31-24. Within our conference, a shootout in Weaverville, North Buncombe 47, East Henderson 36. And, looking at Watauga County defeated TC Robertson 13-12. North Henderson 31, Hendersonville 12, and Smoky 34, Cherokee 13. So those are some of our sister schools in the Mountain 7. Most of them are, but just like it happened at Weatherby Stadium, is that it was a great night for opening of high school football.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I totally agree. I guess I'm a little biased, but it's the greatest time of the year. You know what I mean? Fall time. Obviously, it doesn't feel fall right now, but fall sports, once again, slightly biased, just because of it. It almost feels like it has the smell in the air. You know what I mean? That's what we always said growing up. So I mean, it's exciting that it's here. Genuinely, school starting back for us Monday. I know Buncombe County's not until the week after. Hendersonville's already in school. So this time of year, everybody's getting back into a normal swing of things. So it's exciting. We're all looking forward to it for sure.
So,
you spent a lot of energy against a great Asheville team. Will the week be trying to get your legs back up underneath you, or you're not concerned about that at this point in time in the season?
No, you always got to be concerned about it for your players. I mean, especially, like I told them, guys, there's certain kids that just don't come off the field. And then even the ones that are one way or special teams or whatnot, because every kid, starter or scout team, plays an important role. We all got to give ourselves the best look at practice. And that goes to show, it's not like I said with number 0, Jude Delcom. I mean, he was on scout team offense for the defense all week, and then steps in at Mike linebacker because of being on scout team. He knew what to look for tendency wise, and was able to just plug in. So I wouldn't say we're not gonna rest anybody, so to speak,
right?
Practice, but you always got to be aware of what day of the week it is. Can't go out there and have a crazy 3-hour conditioning practice. But so it just week to week will depend on fatigue or who's injured, who's tweaked, and all that. So that's something we're going to talk about today in our staff meeting, and kind of collectively come to the right understanding of what we want to do this week. But practices don't change, but we may tweak a few things to keep certain guys a little more fresh depending on the week.
Well, it looks like, Jonathan, congratulations, first of all, on starting the Jonathan Crompton era at Tuscola High School.
Thank you.
But I think not only your players are all bought in on it, and will be champions, but I think the fan base and the marching band and the cheerleaders also are all in.
I hope so. I mean, I'm obviously I'm the same way when it goes to anything up there on the hill. So I want everybody to be successful. That's what it is at this level. And like I said, I think we got a great leader at the helm that understands that as well. And he's the exact same way he wants not just every student to be successful and win at whatever their avenue is that they want to go achieve.
Great.
All right. Before we get off, is kickoff next week's at 7:30, correct?
Correct.
Okay, because some of these schedules have 7 o'clock on certain things, and that was an odd kickoff time last night. It was really weird. It started like 20 after instead of 7:30, so I don't know. But anyway, go get healed up, go get better. Congratulations to Asheville High on a great game. Congratulations to our kids for fighting. Our fans were phenomenal. Cheerleaders, bands, the folks that came down here at our tailgate yesterday, and I guess next week's going to be bigger down here as we tailgate and get ready for Polk County. But if you come at 4:30 next week, and Janet will laugh at this, I'll already be gone. I'll be on my way to Polk County. So you need to get here by about 3 o'clock, because probably I'll be sitting in the stadium.
So you'll beat our bus there.
But no, we're going to have a great menu. The people were phenomenal that came and ate and support this program and support our community. And we drank, if you noticed real quick, we drank out of just styrofoam cups, because this time next week, we're going to have a really cool sponsor for our coffee, and maybe even a little snack for breakfast for you guys. So Let's go get them, and let's get the W, because moral victories are not in your vocabulary.
Sounds good. I appreciate you guys. Show obviously always fun. I know I'm a little monotone this morning. Sorry, I'm slightly hoarse and running off a lack of sleep. But no, we're looking forward to the week ahead, and thank you to everybody that showed up last night and cheered all the way till the end. Even with 50 seconds left, you didn't see it, people just piling out leaving. So that was encouraging, man. We genuinely appreciate everybody showing up, supporting not just ourselves, but the cheerleaders and the band as well, because they are a big, important part of game days. So thank you. We look forward to getting back to the drawing board here in a few minutes and getting ready for next week.
Chucky, stay around when we get off the air, okay?
Got you, brother.
Guys, thank you much. We'll be back. Chuck and I will be back with the Dave and Chuck Show twice this week, and we'll see you next week on the Jonathan Crompton Show featuring Tuscola football. Have a great Saturday.